Tonight on KGW News, call it the missing piece.
You know, you just keep moving and you keep shaking and try to find your way.
Or the twist.
It feels very Portland. It's very organic.
That helped this Portland business bounce back. Plus, the major team effort to save a 9-year-old boy hit by a bus while riding his bike.
This is a pretty unique incident that had difficult circumstances when it involves a child.
And racial abuse in an Idaho city leads to an apology.
This is a very sober and serious day.
As college basketball players at the top of their game ask to move across state lines. We begin tonight at 11 with the latest from Baltimore, where a cargo ship ran into a major highway bridge, causing that span to collapse. Search efforts are now on hold until tomorrow morning, but officials say they are moving from rescue into recovery mode and do not expect to find any additional survivors. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. We are learning more tonight about the moments leading up to that crash and how officials were able to block road traffic to keep this tragedy from becoming even worse. This live stream from the bridge showed the ship approaching with black smoke pouring out of the top and its lights flickering. And then this, the pilot issuing a mayday call saying he had lost power and propulsion in the minutes before the collapse. Authorities were able to stop traffic after getting the call. Unfortunately, a road crew filling potholes was on the span as it went down. 2 of those workers were quickly pulled to safety, but the other 6 are still missing. The governor of Maryland telling NBC News he met with their families tonight.
It was heartbreaking. When you're working on a bridge, you don't think that's a dangerous place to work.
The NTSB is now on site to begin to figure out what went wrong both on the ship and with the bridge. Transportation officials in the Northwest say they will be watching this investigation closely to see if anything can be learned that would improve the safety of our bridges here. Developing tonight, the latest in the battle over abortion rights took center stage today in front of the U.S. Supreme Court, with the justices hearing arguments in a case that has to do with access to abortion medication and whether that should be curtailed. Alma McCarty's in the newsroom with a closer look at the case. Alma?
Well, David, this evening I talked with Oregon's Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum, who is in Washington, D.C. now. She's been a big abortion access supporter and explained to me what's at stake when it comes to mifepristone.
We have strong laws that protect our providers and our patients, and I am here with you today in this fight to keep it that way.
Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum on the steps of the United States Supreme Court Tuesday morning, defending abortion as essential health care and the abortion pill as a key part of that care.
Without access, there is no freedom.
This message as the Supreme Court justices heard oral arguments on a case that could significantly restrict access to a commonly used abortion drug called mifepristone. The origins of the case following the FDA's loosening of some restrictions on the drug.
In 2021, they were loosened to permit telehealth, meaning that you didn't have to actually go to a pharmacy or go to a doctor, but that you could actually get a prescription through telehealth. You still had to get a prescription, had to get it by a doctor, but you didn't have to actually appear in person.
The group of anti-abortion doctors who brought the lawsuit claim the FDA didn't adequately evaluate the drug's safety risks and are looking to limit access.
We are asking the Supreme Court to hold the FDA accountable for violating the law to the detriment of women's health.
But the FDA calls mifepristone safe and effective and says it has been over the last 2 decades.
Millions of Americans have used mifepristone to safely end their pregnancies.
As of Tuesday night, abortion access supporters, including Attorney General Rosenblum, say they're hopeful after justices raised questions whether the plaintiffs even had legal standing.
That ended up being a big part of the arguments today, was whether they even had the right to bring those actions, because these are doctors and associations that do not perform abortions.
Attorney General Rosenblum told me that even if the Supreme Court rules in favor of the FDA allowing access to mifepristone, there are other legal challenges ahead with abortion. As for this case, we can expect a decision by this summer. We'll be sure to keep you updated. David?
Yeah, a lot of big cases on the docket for the Supreme Court this session. Thank you, Alma. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines, an arsonist was just sentenced to 30 years in prison for the fire that killed a man and destroyed several businesses in downtown Hillsborough. Rose Sunrise pleaded guilty to manslaughter, arson, and burglary. Prosecutors say Sunrise broke into the Wheel Arcade building on 2 different occasions and set the fire inside in January of 2022. A man who police say was sleeping in the building to stay out of the cold was killed in that fire. Police say Sunrise also set 2 more fires, burning vehicles outside a nearby auto shop the very next day. Surveillance video helped lead investigators to the suspect a few days after that. Investigators are now working to figure out what sparked a fire that destroyed an Asian market in Northeast Portland overnight. Pacific Market is part of a strip mall off Broadway and 67th. Many neighbors tell us they are shaken by the loss.
It's sad in a way, you know, for the owners and then for us as well, because we come here a lot, you know, and have memories.
A lot of memories. Portland Fire says flames started in a restaurant that's been closed for years. Several homes nearby were evacuated during that fire as a precaution. And new at 11, the Evergreen School Board approved a set of budget cuts at its meeting tonight. The district plans to cut about 150 positions in all, which will mean a reduction for next school year in the number of teachers, librarians, paraeducators, and other staff. The district originally planned to cut school security and 5th grade music, but changed its mind after parents pushed back. Well, to some scary and sobering moments this morning in Vancouver as a 9-year-old boy riding his bike to school wound up underneath a school bus. We want to let you know he suffered minor injuries but is largely okay thanks to the efforts here of firefighters. Vancouver Fire sending us these photos. They say that 9-year-old boy got tangled in his bike, which was trapped under the bus's rear axle. This is around 7:15 this morning near Southeast Ellsworth Road and 10th Street. Firefighters using special equipment, hydraulic struts to lift the bus. They say the boy was wearing a bike helmet, which played a big role in keeping him safe. Medics took the elementary school student to the hospital. Firefighters say it is always critical to look out for kids, and right now, especially during the morning commute.
About the time that this incident occurred is kind of that twilight hour where we are kind of going from dark to light. So just being vigilant when you're traveling, especially around schools. Just making sure that you're looking out for children on bikes and walking to school.
Yeah, talk about teamwork with that rescue. Police are looking into the events that led up to the crash. The bus driver was not cited. New tonight, a Portland woman is hoping for help getting back some priceless family heirlooms she believes were stolen by a woman breaking into cars. Carly Ellis shared this video from her apartment building. This is in the Johns Landing area of South Portland. In it, you can see what appears to be a woman trying to open several car doors. Video shows she spends at least a half an hour in that garage getting into the front and trunks of at least 2 vehicles. Police have not named any suspects here. Ellis believes the same person took several items from her car, including rings she inherited from her mother and grandmother. These are pictures of her previously wearing that jewelry.
I'd only worn them that particular day because I had a really big presentation with a VP at work and I was wearing them for good luck. So I can't implore people to be vigilant enough because once it's happened, it's really hard to get those things back.
Ellis estimates her losses at as much as $25,000. If you recognize the woman in the video or more likely see these rings, you can report this to Portland Police.